I don't know what happened there, but we back. Some kind of way we get caught up on what happens in between that word, in between that situation, in between that problem. And when we do that, we run the risk of losing focus on what it is that God already had for us. So what I'm saying to you, if this was the year 2020, God spoke to you and said that this is the year of clear vision. This is the year of divine purpose. This is the year of alignment, whatever the case is. Let me tell you, the epidemic or the pandemic, excuse me, has not changed the word that God has for you. It hasn't changed. It's the same word. It's the same thing. He didn't change because this pandemic came. May I solicit to you that he already knew that this was going to happen before he gave you that word? Can I solicit to you that all of this is a part of his plan? Can I tell you that this didn't catch him unaware? This didn't catch him off guard, but rather this is a part of what he wanted. This is a part of his plan. This is a part of what he's going to do, how he's fulfilling the needs of his people. This is all a part of it. The Bible said this to us: all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and them who are the called according to his purpose. So none of this changed anything. You just didn't know that this was a part of the course. You just didn't know that this was the method that God was going to use to bring your miracle. You didn't know that this was the method that God was going to use to set you up for the greater that's coming. And so with the setup that God is doing for you, with the setup that God is positioning you for, he had to take you this route. Now, later, it'll become clear why he had to bring you through this particular route. Later, it'll become clear why he chose this way to do it. The old songwriter said, by and by, we'll understand it better by and by. And so we don't concern ourselves with trying to understand it later or trying to understand it at all. But rather, we ought to be in a position where we are relaxing in the fact that God has something in mind for us, that God is working, that God is working out something on our behalf. And so I say to you, and I solicit to you, that he ain't changed his mind. This is not off course. All of this is a part of the divine plan, the divine alignment that God has for your life. Let me say this to you. I also wanted to say to you that in my time of study, my time of talking with the Lord, I asked the Lord, I said, God, it's a lot going on, a lot of whatever. What is it that we're missing? What is the place that we're off at? And the Lord spoke to me, and he said to me, he said, Walker, one of the biggest issues that I have with my people is the fact that my people have become part-time lovers. He said, the issue that I have with my people is my people seem to only be as connected to me as they feel is possible for them to be okay with me without being connected all the way. Part-time lovers. We got people who only want to preach as far, or only want to be clean, as long as they are preaching, or as long as they're singing, or as long as they're up before the people. But as soon as that time of ministry is over, they slipping and dipping and creeping and hiding, and they got all of this stuff going on. And God is saying, I'm tired of being your part-time lover. I'm tired of you only wanting to do with me and be with me at the convenience of you. He says, I don't want you to be convenient with me. I want you to be intimate with me. I want to know that what we got is worth sustaining throughout time, throughout temptation, throughout all of that. But for some reason or another, we're living in the day when the people want to be like Hannah Montana. They want to have the best of both worlds. You can't have the best of both worlds. He didn't go to the cross and still do all this other unseemly stuff That's not the way he operates. He's a whole God. He's whole with us, and he wants us to be whole with him. And so as we are embarking on this, understand that the day of being double-minded and the day of having one foot on one side and one foot on the other side is over with. He's done with that. He wants all of us. He wants everything. And when we don't give him everything, we lose out on the best parts of him. Listen, who says that I want you to be my wife, but I'm going to share you? I'm going to share you with another man. I'm going to share you with another woman. I want to share you with technology. I want to share you with all that kind of stuff. Nobody wants part-time lovers. So why is it that the body of Christ is at a place where we feel like it's okay to be in one day and out the other day? Some of our prayers are hindered because we try to live a life one way inside the church and be okay with living a different life outside the church. It don't work. Beloved, we can't do this. We got to come in all the way. We got to come in all the way. So here we are. I'm sorry, I digress for a moment, but here we are. There is a group of us. Matter of fact, there's a lot of us that right now the Lord has been dealing with us in particular ways. There's a stirring in our belly like never before. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt that God is getting ready to do something major. Can I tell you that even around November that the Lord began to say, and he began to tell me that there was something great about to happen. And he shared with me, he said, prepare my people, put my people in line, put them in sync for what I'm about to do. And listen, the pandemic is not it. Glory be to God. That's not it. Your storm that you're dealing with right now, that's not it. But it's the greater that's about to come after this. And I'm trying my best to keep my composure. I'm trying my best not to get too overwhelmed and too excited because I feel it way down in my belly, way down in my spirit, that God has something crazy that he's about to do in the hearts and the minds of his people. There are those of you that every time you turn around, there's a well springing up in your belly. It's proof that what God said, he hadn't changed his mind. He's still getting ready to do something crazy. He's still getting ready to do something extraordinary. And there's a stirring there to remind you that revival is on the way. It's on the way. Don't stop here. Don't throw in the towel here. Don't just relax here, because God has something that is so incredible that's on the horizon for us. And we don't want to miss it. We don't want to lose it. There is something great. I solicit to you. Glory be to God. I tell you that there is something that God has in store for his people. Beloved, he's not going to allow us to go through what we have gone through and to deal with the things that we've been dealing with and there not be something coming behind it. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's something coming behind it. It's something greater coming. It's something greater coming. Listen. If you go through apostolic history, you go through Pentecostal genealogy and that type of thing, you'll find that after every major pandemic, every major situation that has happened throughout our history, behind that came a great move of God. Listen, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing right now? In this pandemic, in this isolation, what is it I'm supposed to be doing? Can I tell you? What you ought to be doing right now is preparing yourself for two things. Number one, prepare yourself for the harvest. Number two, prepare yourself for revival. Revival is coming. And the harvest is coming. That's what happens after situations like this. What happens in the natural is a direct component of that which is going on in the spirit. And after it happens in one area, you can rest assured that it's about to happen in the other area. Glory be to God. You be encouraged. You hold on to God's unchanging hand. Don't give up, because God has something in store for you. He has something great that's about to happen in your life, and you don't want to miss it. You can't afford to miss it. You can't afford to miss it. Beloved, I'm praying for you. I'm believing God for you. I'm trusting that God is going to meet you directly where you are. I'm praying for you. I love you. Just wanted to take a few minutes and tell you that God hasn't changed his mind and that God has something in store for you. God bless you. God keep you. We love you.